set this up here. We should be good to go. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Apologies for earlier on. BWTM Sports in association with Round for Round Boxing Game, www.roundforroundboxing.com, and in association with Three Kings Boxing for all your boxing news, threekingsboxing.com. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have in the room with us international matchmaker, a man with almost over 40 years experience in what he does within the world of boxing. We have with us, once again, boxing insider, Rick Glaser. Rick, how are we doing?
England, great, but listen, it's only 27 years. I'm working on number 28 right now, so let's not get too carried away in how many years, but it's still been a long time.
28 years. So maybe that's somebody else who had the 40 years. See, I'm getting long now. That's what it is. But I'm giving more years for credit. How you been anyway?
I'm doing well. I'm in Atlantic City for a boxing show tomorrow where I'm the color analyst on a new streaming app called the undercardboxingapp.com, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's show. This particular app is going to feature fights of a smaller nature, more regional fights, up and comers and stuff. Not the biggest fights in boxing, but good core grassroots boxing and middle of the road type of fights.
When you say you're a color analyst, can you explain to me what a color analyst is?
Well, I'm the expert with the big mouth, is what basically that means. In other words, where I'm giving my opinion on the quality of the fight, the quality of the fighters, what they should be doing, the adjustments they should be making in the fight, the adjustments they're not making in the fight, and if they win, where do they go from here? And if they lose, where do they go from here?
Fantastic. Okay, let's get straight into things. First and foremost, the Al Haymon deal. A lot of people saying that Al Haymon and PBC was a sinking ship, and then out of nowhere, boom. Talk to us about it.
Well, understand this. To understand the deal, you have to know the background.
Okay.
The background is that he's had Showtime for the last 7 years. They just re-extended it for another 3. The problem, then he acquired a couple days later the Fox deal. The problem with the deal is this. It's a great deal for fans from the standpoint of more boxing and everything else that's going to be, they're going to show a few more Showtime fights than they were, and now they're going to have bigger fights on Fox and the regular network, and then the FS1 cable network. Now, what basically is happening here is if you take the $80 million a year combined of the two of the gross TV handle of each deal, 50 million is one and 30 million is a guarantee on the other. Now, the Showtime deal might go up if they have a few more shows, so they're going to pay them per show. But what they're working with now is 30 million, so that's $80 million. By the time a corporation, by the time they pay their competition costs, their operating expenses, and their corporate operating expenses, okay, you're left with about 20% of your TV revenues as your profit. So on $80 million, he'll make $16 million a year. Now the PBC, his operating company that put up the money, Whitehall Reed, they're in. Haymon blew through $550 million in the 3.5 years that the PBC operated up until now. Well, what happened was, if he's down $550 million, which he is, because that's a public filing over here in the United States as a federal law, as our laws are, they have an SEC filing. And it was filed on that they were out $550 million. Well, that is law that you have to file. You have to file truthfully. Okay, so if that's the case, which it is, okay, that means at $16 million a year, Al Haymon would have to have a deal like this in place for the next 36 years. The next 36 years for the PBC to get even after the $550 million he blew, which Al Haymon at 62 years old would bring him up to age 98. So it sounds like it's a great business deal, which it is for boxing fans going forward. But as an operating corporate entity, it's been a colossal failure, and this will only help them, further along to try to get out of debt. Now, my assumption of them 20% is what a promoter does make of the TV revenue of the total net. In other words, you still have your income from sponsors and TV and the gate, all that other stuff. Don't get me wrong, but when it's said and done, it's their profit. That's all goes into their costs. That all goes into what the fighters get. When it's said and done, their profit is in the TV revenue, and that's 20%. And it's when everything's said and done. So that's $16 million and $80 million. $16 million is a lot of money per year, but when you're in debt $550 million, it's a flea. And it'll take 36 years at that rate to get out of debt.
I understand that there's another deal that Haymon's got in place. Plus, what about pay-per-views?
Well, he has no pay-per-views. What pay-per-view star does he have? He can't give his fighters away. He has no attractions. Mayweather's retired. If Mayweather fights one more time, it's a lot. Mayweather is not PBC. Okay? Mayweather has consistently said, now his fights for promotional company, his promotional company is PBC, so the fights that he promotes. But when he fights himself, he is not PBC. Okay, Al Haymon gets 2.5% of the retention of Floyd Mayweather's money when Floyd fought. That's his deal. It has nothing to do with PBC. Zero. And he has no pay-per-view stars in PBC. Now, that doesn't mean that two fighters that he has can't come together and become a pay-per-view attractions, 2-3 years down the road possibly. But as of right now, he's got no pay-per-view attractions. And the other problem is because of Top Rank's ESPN deal, which is the app, and because of Eddie Hearn's app and all the boxing that's out there right now, the pay-per-view model is going to be almost extinct. Okay, because who's going to pay $80, $79.95 to $99.99 in America or anywhere in the world, for that matter, when they can go on the app and watch, really, really good fights for $5 a month? So
what about the fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury? That should bring in a few bit of money, shouldn't it?
Nah. Neither guy has headlined a pay-per-view show in America. America is a different market, okay? It's a completely different market. First of all, our market is Hispanic-driven when it comes to boxing. They're looking for Mexicans versus Puerto Ricans and stuff like that, or they're looking for one of their Mexican stars to fight a superstar like a Floyd Mayweather, like Canelo versus Mayweather was, okay, or it was Oscar versus Floyd, something like that. Nobody's looking for Wilder and Fury over here on pay-per-view. Now, will the boxing fans want to watch it? Yeah, but it's not a pay-per-view fight. A pay-per-view fight, let me get this straight, in America now, is a fight that draws the common sports person that watches sports in general, is not particularly just a boxing fan, a hardcore boxing fan. That's not a pay-per-view. A pay-per-view is one that a guy who watches football and NASCAR over here and those other sports, he'll say, oh, this is a big event. I want to see it. I'm going to have 4 or 5 friends over. We're going to have a party. We're going to order pizza, chicken wings, and we're going to grill, and we're going to do this and that. That's a pay-per-view event, okay, which was Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, okay? This is not. Wilder and Fury are very far from being a pay-per-view attraction. Will it be on pay-per-view? Okay, so it's on pay-per-view. Doesn't mean it's going to do real well. I don't think it'll do real well on pay-per-view.
What about Joshua Wilder?
Well, that's a different story now. Now you're talking about a guy who's drawing 90,000 belt, and you're talking about a guy that's, I think, more well respected by the boxing community and also by the general fans that know him, and the fans that don't know him will see him talk, take one look at him and say, this looks and acts like a fighter. So I guess what? Yes, I think that'll be pay-per-view, and I think that'll do it very well.
Canelo versus Golovkin. What's going on there with that fight? Because it seems that people are not paying as much attention as they should do about it.
They're paying attention. Everybody's looking forward to the fight. I've got a million phone calls. You know, when I say a million, 30, 40 phone calls in the last week about, who's going to win, why, what do you think, blah, blah, blah. Listen, Canelo's a better athlete. He can make the adjustments. He's younger. The other guy's tipping 36 years old now. And I even without the PEDs, the performance enhancing drugs, I think that Canelo will have enough on the ball to beat this guy. That's my opinion.
That's what I'm thinking. This fight this weekend, Porter versus Garcia.
I think it's a toss-up fight. I can see Porter getting wild and getting dropped one time.
Yep, I see that too.
Him up off the canvas and still winning the decision. But the fight's a toss-up. It's a great fight. It's a fight that people should watch, and it's a fight that you want to watch. It's two good guys. Both guys have fathers that are involved with their kids. Angel Garcia, Danny's father, is completely wacky. Kenny Porter's fighter is more stable, but he's only more stable than Angel. It doesn't mean he's stable. So it's quite a family affair on both sides. It's going to be a fun fight to watch. There's no question about that.
Talk to me about the impact of DAZN and Eddie Hearn in America now with the Al Haymon deal.
Well, what he's doing is all he's going to do is drive up the prices that the other promoters have to do to keep their fighters, to retain their fighters. In other words, I don't really see, now that Haymon's got this new deal, this extended deal at Showtime, and this new deal at Fox, and he's turning the corner as far as, going from losses to profits. I just think it's going to cost him more money to keep his fighters, and Eddie's going to cause that. I don't see too many to start. The only one that would affect, who's not loyal, would be Mikey Garcia. The other guys are going to probably more or less stay with Haymon. Eddie, here's what Eddie's problem in America is, okay? And I think Eddie's a great promoter. I think his father's one of the true great men this sport has ever been in the sport of boxing, the business segment of it. Barry is a Hall of Fame promoter and a real gentleman in every respect. But here's his problem in America. His style does not lend well to American fighters because American fighters are core street urchins. And Eddie's too aloof and too well dressed, and that's a street guy. And he grew up in a wealthy family, and he doesn't resonate to those fighters here in America because of that. They, he might have, to some people, he looks like he got antlers on his head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that, appeal. Don King had that appeal. Bob Arum has that appeal to a certain extent because he can talk their language because he's from New York and he grew up on the streets of New York. He actually didn't grow up rich. He's self-made entirely. So he can talk their language, okay? It's just that he can't talk that language. That's number one. Number two is the people that he retained over here that he hired to form his Matchroom USA, none of them are boxing businessmen. In other words, you have a matchmaker, yeah, he can make matches. He can't sign fighters. You got a guy running the company over here that, and another American, he's never produced a dime in his life. He's like a glorified janitor. So you have these kind of situations where they didn't hire the right people who signed the quality fighters to get out and bang the streets, fly in the cities, and say, hey, Eddie's got to do this all himself. And his personality and his appearance and his disposition doesn't blend well with these fighters in America. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to sign Mikey Garcia, okay, or another fighter or something, but it's not going to be what he thought it was. The windfall is just going to become running to Eddie Hearn and everything else. That's not happening. First of all, just to take yesterday, Terrence Crawford, he re-signed with Top Rank for the next, for the foreseeable future. Probably going to end his career at Top Rank. He's already fought for them since 2011. That's 7 years. And if he signed another 7-year deal, that'll take him up to basically the end of his career. So I definitely don't think Eddie's making the inroads over it now. That he signed some second-rate and third-rate champs. Danny Romano's an excellent fighter, but he's a bantamweight, and he's not a big draw, but he is a great fighter. Ability-wise, he's great, but he's not a huge draw. He's not a draw at all. Okay, Beaverev from Canada, Peturbiev, how do you want Arthur Peturbiev, Beaverev, however you want to pronounce his name. It's pronounced so many different ways. I just gave it 2 pronunciations myself. And he's not a big draw at all. He's a 0 draw. So he's got fighters that he's signing. They may be champions in the ring, but they're not entities over here as far as in Canada and Mexico and United States are not entities as far as being draws. And if he's going to make the inroad that he thinks he's going to make, he's got to sign the big name guys over here.
He just signed Usyk, the undisputed cruiserweight champion.
I'm sorry?
He signed Usyk, the undisputed cruiserweight champion.
I understand, but he's never fought in America. He's never been on an American team. Who gives a shit about him over here? We're talking about, you said in the United States.
Yeah.
As far as the UK goes, as far as the UK, Usyk's big because he can fight Bello. He can fight Dillian White. He can fight
Joshua
Cristora. He can fight all those guys. Okay, so he's big for Eddie over there. But now you're talking about 16 to zone dates there and 16 to zone dates here. And he needs the zone dates here to fill the gamut. And he's not signing those type of fighters that the people are going to be jumping up and down for.
That's true. That's true. How do you see Povetkin and Joshua? Is Povetkin a danger for Joshua or not?
Yes, he's a danger for anybody. He knows how to fight. He's got a tremendous chin, okay, and he can punch and he can box. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's long in the tooth. He's 39, but he's not a beaten up or wore out 39. Okay, and what I mean by that is he hasn't been in a lot of abusive fights. Most of the time, he was the one giving out the abuse.
Yes.
So he's only really been in one tough fight that I can remember, which was his one loss was to Klitschko back in 2014 or 15 or something. I don't remember the exact year, but it was quite a while ago now. And he hits Anthony Joshua in the chin. Joshua gets up, he can finish him off. I don't think he's going to go to sleep with one punch. Put you to sleep with one punch with Joshua. In other words, where he just goes down, but he might get up and be wobbled enough that this guy knows how to finish somebody. So it's not an easy fight. Do I expect Joshua to win? Of course, I expect Joshua to win. He's that much younger. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's fresher. He's got all, and he's the hour of the champion. The other guy's traveling from Russia to England. But it's not. The fight is not. It's far from a joke. This is what I just told a reporter the other day about it. He is the #1 mandatory contender in the WBA and WBO, and he's what I call a warranted, accomplished number one contender. He deserved that status and that ranking and status, and you know he will give him, he will make the best out of the situation. You know, good, bad, or indifferent.
What do you make of the return of Fury?
I think he's looked horrible. I think that I really don't think, if I had him, I know one thing. I'm not saying he is fighting Wilder yet because nothing's been signed and nothing's official, but I sure wouldn't be having him be signed fight Wilder right now. I'd be putting him in one more year's worth of relatively, you know, fights that he's supposed to win, but get, you know, guys with better chins and guys that are more, not punchers, but guys that are more demanding of his, to bring out the best in Wild and in Fury. He just, you know, he's fought an ash can for the first fight. The second fight, he fought a left-handed tomato can. Italian tomato can at that. And you know, I think he needs to fight, you know, like the Soares and those type of fighters to go to the next level. You know, at the same time staying away from the Dylan Whites and stuff, and the Dillian Whites, the dangerous guys like that. But you know, he just doesn't seem to be putting it all together anymore. Now, is he physically shot or mentally shot, or just doesn't have it anymore? You know, whatever the situation may be, but it is what it is, and he needs 3 more fights before he even thinks of getting in with a Joshua or a Wilder or anything like that.
I've spoken to a few Fury people and they've said to me, "Oh, he's skillful, he's class, he'll slip. You can't hit what you can't see when it comes to Fury. He's got the skill set." If the Fury fought Klitschko fights Wilder
can't box a lick, but he's fast enough to catch Fury. Don't forget one thing: Steve Cunningham was a cruiserweight and never a puncher in the cruiser or heavyweight division.
I've said this.
And he put Fury down with 1 shot. And Fury wasn't real good when he got up, so he was hurt. It wasn't like he was off balance or anything like that. He was hurt. So I don't buy those lines, and you know, they got to stop being rah pom boys around Fury, because anybody with any brains can see he's not what he was, and he needs to develop a little more to have a fighting chance against a Wilder or Joshua.
How do you make Hughie Fury's chances against Kubrat Pulev in Bulgaria?
Well, that's a very interesting case, because somebody connected with Pulev asked me the other day. Basically, Pulev is very strong. He's a little slow. He can punch, but he's a little over the hill too at 37. Hasn't fought too often in the last bunch of years. Hasn't fought in over a year. I think Hughie Fury's got 7 out of 10. Hughie Fury has 7 out of the 10 edges going for him. The 3 he's got going against him is the other guy is a proven strong heavyweight physically. The fight is in Bulgaria, number 2. And number 3, the other guy is very experienced, both international amateur and as a professional fighter. And he's got a little more experience than the other guy. And I think that Hughie Fury will be more nervous than Pulev will, fighting out of his country and in the other guy's backyard, and fighting a big, strong guy like a Pulev. But the other 7 things I give to Hughie Fury: youth, okay, speed, hand speed, foot speed, agility, all that kind of stuff that you see in the ring. I give the advantage to Hughie Fury, but it's a fight. No matter who wins, it's a fight. I think it's a very, very good fight that I'm interested in watching myself. Which, for me to say that is an endorsement of a boxing event, because I don't just watch. I don't watch boxing just because 2 people have boxing gloves on. I have to have an interest in the fight. And geez, I don't know who's going to win. I have to watch this to see. Okay,
I'm going to ask you about 3 fighters very, very quickly. A lot of talk on the UK about Joe Joyce. Your thoughts, and how do you see him?
Way too early. I mean, we guys got what, 5 fights?
Yeah.
way too early. Daniel Dubois, way too early. The guy from Germany, Flip Hovik.
Yes.
Way too early. You know what? If I had to take the three best of those guys right there, for now, I'd have to take Hovik. Okay, I'd have to take Hovik right now with his amateur background and everything else at the competition level. He's fighting. He's already fighting he's already fighting Mansour, and Joe Joyce turned down Joey DeVecco, 19-5, a little short 5'10" heavyweight that can't punch, and he turned him down as an opponent for September 8th. What is it, tomorrow night already in New York. So, you know what? I happen to think maybe they know what they got in Joyce, which is as much as they thought they did, maybe, or what. I don't know what the reason is, but you don't turn down, if you're a heavyweight going anywhere, you don't turn down the Joey DeVecos. And I think that Flip Hovik's fight, Mansour, so that is more of a telling sign to me. If he gets past the Mansour, hard-punching left-hander, whether he's 46 years old or not, he can still punch. He's only lost 2 career fights. And, that tells me a lot right there.
Wow.
So we'll see. I think what I would say, to sum that up, the jury's still out on Joe Joyce, and it'll be for a while. So he fights starting the next level up in competition, the real fighters.
Have you had a chance to see Martin Bacole? It's one guy that I've got a lot of respect for, and I think it's going to go places. He fights Michael Hunter in what you wouldn't call it a crossroads fight, but it's a very interesting fight. Step up fight.
You talking about, is that the hard punching African?
Yes.
Yeah. He looks good. I saw him on YouTube. Somebody sent me some YouTube clips of him. Some fights. He's good. He looks good. But you know what? They all occurred Shabalat, 15, 17, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, he looked like the next company great when he was punching people. But as soon as they get punched back, some guys don't look too good. That's why I said this Daniel Dubois, this Joe Joyce, these type of guys and gentlemen, the fighter you just mentioned, that's why everybody looks like Mike Tyson when they're punching. What do they look like when they're getting punched back? Even Mike Tyson never looked good when he's getting punched back. Basically, 5 career losses, all by space of stoppage. Well, one was disqualification because he was about to get stopped. So, everybody looks good when they're throwing punches. How do they look when you're getting punched? So the jury's still out, but we'll see what happens. But Pervez Shalaba, there, 20 years ago, I don't know if you remember him.
Yes.
But he was a prime example of that. He looked great when he was thrown. When he was getting thrown back, and he looked like 10 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag.
Bryant Jennings.
What about him?
Where's he going?
I'm probably to lunch in a little while. Probably. But anyways, on a serious note, where's he going? I think the biggest fight right now for him is probably that he can get is probably Andy Ruiz, Top Rank's other guy, because Top Rank's got Andy Ruiz too. He could probably get $1 million payday with that fight. Anywhere 750 and up, 750 to $1 million payday with that fight. So that would be the biggest fight right now for him. Right now, he has come back. He's beaten everybody he's put in front of him, including Dimanchenko. And I think that kind of fight, I don't see him beating. I surely don't see him beating Joshua. Wilder, you never know, because you just got to hit Wilder on the chin, and he might go night-night. Would I see him in a great fight with Luis Ortiz? Yeah, but Heyman's not going to make those fights with and let Arum fight his guys. That's just not going to happen. So I think right now the biggest fight for him is Andy Ruiz, and the second biggest fight would be Dillian Whyte.
Luis Ortiz?
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Like I said, he's 46 years old. His next birthday he'll be 49. They say he's 38, and and I'm 22. You know what I'm saying? So, come on. But realistically, he can punch. He's a solid, formidable guy for anybody. I don't know what I really don't know what they're going to do with him. I have no clue.
Rick, I'm going to let you go because I know you're a busy man. You got places to go and people to see. All the best with you being a color commentator or color analyst on tonight for the app. And
would you do me one favor? Hang that our conversation on your show. Can you hang that on my Facebook wall so my Facebook people could,
of course, I would love to do that. And Rick,
thank you.
Before you go,
thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I look forward to any time you want to do any show. I'm always here for you, Ingram, in England.
Thank you so much. And just before you go, don't forget to check out Round for Round Boxing, the new boxing game that's in development. Yesterday, we spoke to the grandson of the great Henry Armstrong, who is now going to be part of the game.
Very good. I will definitely do that. Definitely. And in the meantime, you have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights, and like to say goodbye to everybody all over the world. Have a great, safe weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Rick. Appreciate you. Take care, Rick. There you have it. 27 years experience in matchmaking. There you have Rick Glaser giving us a breakdown on the boxing landscape at the moment. We'll see you soon. Take care.